The world has known many serial killers. The list of such people who have committed inhumane crimes is endless, but then there are some who have actually stolen the spotlight for the hideous crimes committed against humanity. Here are 10 most evil and notorious serial killers the world has ever seen.
Number 10. Richard Ramirez. For more than a year during the 1980s, Richard Ramirez terrorized neighborhoods throughout Los Angeles. Nicknamed Night Stalker, Ramirez would break into homes and brutally murder his victims, sometimes raping them first. His victims ranged from early 20s to 79-year-old women. His weapons of choice included handguns, knives, a tire iron, a machete, and even a hammer. Ramirez never expressed any remorse for his crimes. He was sentenced to death but died of leukemia before he could be executed. Number 9. Donald Henry Gaskins. Gaskins is claimed to have killed between 80 to 90 people by torturing and mutilating them. He started killing in 1969, picking up hitchhikers on the coastal highways of the American South. A criminal associate witnessed him killing 2 young men and confessed to the police. He was sentenced to death, which was later turned to life imprisonment without any parole. Gaskins added another murder to his name as he became the first inmate to kill another man on death row. Number 8. Pedro Lopez. Pedro Lopez's deranged killing spree is terrifying enough, but perhaps even more terrifying is the fact that Lopez's current whereabouts are unknown. The Colombian claims to have raped and killed more than 300 women across Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. At least 100 of these were tribal women. In 1980, the monster of the Andes was arrested and led police to the graves of 53 victims between the ages of 9 and 12. Lopez was found guilty of murdering 110 girls in Ecuador. He also confessed to an additional 240 murders in Peru and Colombia. He was declared insane, but incredibly, Lopez was released in 1998 for good behavior, and while there are plenty of rumors, no one can confirm exactly where he is today. Number 7. Joachim Kroll. German serial killer Joachim Kroll murdered at least 14 people, including young children, between 1955 and 1976. After strangling his victims with his bare hands, Kroll would have sex with their corpses, then cut them into pieces to eat. Interestingly, Kroll was finally caught after a neighbor complained about a backup in the plumbing. The pipes were clogged with human guts. When Kroll was arrested, he was in the process of simmering body parts taken from his most recent victim, 4-year-old Marion Kedder. Number 6. Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper may be a name that everyone knows, but no one can be certain of his true identity. Whoever he or she really was, Jack the Ripper was definitely deranged. In 1888, Jack terrorized the Whitechapel neighborhood of London by slitting the throats and abdomens of at least 5 prostitutes and leaving them for dead. Sometimes he would even remove the woman's uterus and take it as some sort of prize. It's unlikely Jack the Ripper's true identity will ever be figured out, but Ripperology, the study and analysis of the murders, has certainly inspired quite a few what-if novels and films. Number 5. John Wayne Gacy. There's deranged, and then there's the type of deranged that describes the serial killer John Wayne Gacy. He was nicknamed Killer Clown because of his job attending children's birthday parties and charitable events as Pogo the Clown. Gacy was convicted of raping, torturing, and murdering 33 teenage boys over a 6-year period. He would lure them to his home, kill them via strangulation or asphyxiation, then bury them on his property. Gacy was executed in May 1994. Number 4. Albert Fish. When a serial killer is dubbed the Brooklyn Vampire, the Moon Maniac, the Werewolf of Wisteria, the Grey Man, and the Boogeyman, it's almost certain that he is thoroughly deranged. Fish was tried and found guilty of raping, killing, and cannibalizing 3 children in the early 1900s. However, he claimed that he had murdered more than 100 children, and even boasted that he had children in different states. Especially deranged is the fact that Fish sent a letter to the mother of one of his victims, 10-year-old Grace Budd. The letter detailed how he had lured the little girl, strangled her, and then cut her into pieces to eat over the course of 9 days. Number 3. Jeffrey Dahmer. No list of the most deranged serial killers would be complete without Jeffrey Dahmer. Dahmer, known as the Milwaukee Cannibal, was ultimately convicted of murdering 17 young men over a 14-year period. But Dahmer didn't just murder them, he also raped, dismembered, and sometimes even ate his victims. During the trial, Dahmer admitted to drilling a hole into the victims' heads in an attempt to turn them into minor sex slaves. Although Dahmer certainly would have been executed for his deranged crimes, he was beaten to death in prison in 1994. Number 2. Andrei Chikatilo. Between 1978 and 1990, the Russian serial killer Andrei Chikatilo sexually assaulted, murdered, and mutilated more than 15 young women and children. One of the youngest was only 9 years old. The deranged Chikatilo killed his victims by stabbing and slashing them with a knife. Chikatilo later admitted stated that he was only able to achieve orgasm by stabbing women, a fact which made it difficult for him to resist strong urges of killing. Chickatoli was named the Butcher of Rostov, the Red Ripper, and the Rostov Ripper. Though he confessed to the total of 56 brutal murders, he was tried for 53, sentenced to death, and executed by firing squad in 1994. Number 1. Ted Bundy. You don't have to be an American or have been around in the 80s to know the name Ted Bundy. Bundy is easily one of the most deranged serial killers, not to mention kidnappers, rapists, burglars, and necrophiles of all time. His sick modus operandi included kidnapping his female victims, raping them, and then dismembering them, he often keeping their heads as souvenirs. Before he was executed in 1989, Bundy admitted to kidnapping and murdering 30 women, though this number is almost certainly much higher.